Yeah, this is about family appreciation, you know. According to the Family Court of Jefferson County, Yatrell Johnson is 18 years old, you know, old enough to get married. Because according to my marriage certificate, you know, it says a person was 18 years old and got married, you know. And the date on the marriage certificate is April 30th, 2004. So, you know, I just want to say, you know, as a real dad, you know, and all of that, and all of that, as a real husband, and all of that, and all of that, you know, don't it feel good when a child is 18 years old and, you know, I never molested him, I never did a boy insemination to him, you know, I never asked him for any money, you know, I never asked him to borrow any money, you know, I never set him up in a threesome, you know, I never took him to a prostitute or to a strip club to get a lap dance or have sex with somebody, you know, a real dad, you know. I never exposed him to the wrong kind of sexuality, you know, a real dad, you know. And at the age of 18 years old, you know, I didn't go out and make other girls into single moms and single mothers or whatever, you know. And, you know, as a real dad, just telling the truth. Because it's all about your trail. It's not about me, you know. But, you know, just identifying myself, you know. When, you know, I said I only wanted one child and your trailhead got sick and I took him to the hospital like a real dad, you know, because the ambulance didn't do it, you know. I could have just walked away. I could have just left. I could have just ignored the situation. But, you know, like a real dad actually being there, you know, as a real husband and all of that, you know. It doesn't matter what kind of games people played with me and how they tried to confuse me. When they said it, you know, according to the birth certificate of August 31st, 2004, the child should be, you know, 18 years old. So, you know, being old enough to get married legally at the age of 18, you know, it would not be child molestation, you know, if somebody wanted to get married to Yatrell Johnson, you know, according to the birth certificate and all that, you know. So, you know, as a real dad, you have my word that, you know, I didn't touch him, I didn't molest him, I didn't, you know, sexually abuse or physically abuse him or any of that, you know. So he should be good to go, you know. He should be good to go to, you know, and all of that, you know, from the care that I provided, you know, because sometimes it's what you did not do that matters the most, you know. And even if there was no hymen for the mom or any of that and all of that and stuff like that, I did not murder or kill his mom or anyone, you know. And, you know, even when folks talking about record deals and music and stuff like that, you know, I didn't participate in selling out, you know, for a record deal or for a contract or for a business or stuff like that, you know. Because when the blessing gotta come from somewhere and somebody gotta have the right connection with God, of course, you know. I love the children enough to, you know, even though I said I only wanted one child, when they said he needed somebody else to play with, Yatrell needed somebody else to play with, and then, oh, Lord Gerald was born. And then when he went to foster care and they was like, they won't give us a court date, you know, unless they wanted to steal another child, you know. So then, well, Trinity was born, and guess what? They got a court date, and guess what? They stole her on the day she was born, October 6, 2006. And there's a real dad, you know, each time I was at the hospital, and each time when the children was born, you know, it's evidence that, you know, even though, you know, I didn't damage or break a girl's hymen ever in life, you know, I didn't murder their mom or I didn't beat up the mom or cause the children to die or I didn't cause the mom to have a miscarriage. So, you know, as a real dad, you know, I never asked the children for any money, or I never asked to come live with them or stay in their house, stuff like that, I never asked to borrow their cars or their clothes and stuff like that. So, as a real dad, I just want to thank God, for all of the blessings, And I guess it got something to do with being straight, because as a real dad, believing in God, whatever it was, two guys in the room, doing stuff with a girl or another guy, I would always leave out, or I wouldn't want to be part of it, because as a real dad, I always, tried to be the right way, the straight way, a way that's straight, So, as real dad and stuff like that, maybe, Trail might have a lot of money and stuff like that. Because since I never asked him to borrow any money, and since I didn't, set him up in a car accident and stuff like that to get insurance money, and then asked, the lady that said her name was Yolanda for money for a car loan. What was it? A Lincoln Mark 8, and it was Willie Johnson, and he wanted a car loan off of the money that they said came from a car accident from me, from my body. And it came from the blood and the damages and the scars, that happened to me that they said in 1996, however it happened. Since I never did any of that to, any of the children that they said are mine children, my children, children that, I told them to say God first, a child of God, that way. So if I was 12 years old in 1996 and they said I was in a car accident and they used the money to get houses and cars and stuff that was not for me, because of course, you see, I don't stay in those houses. You see, I don't have any of those cars, stuff like that. So since Trinity, is 13, over the age of 12. Since Lord Gerald is 16, over the age of 12. And since Trail is 18, over the age of 12. Thank God for allowing me to be a real dad, because, I didn't set them up in a car accident for insurance money, stuff like that. I never signed up for Toys for Tots and stuff like that to get a free handout, stuff like that, I never used or abused the system just because I had 3 children, It was a song one time I heard before that said, what would you do if your child was at home crying all alone on the bedroom floor because he's hungry? And the only way to feed him is to do what? Let me stop right there. I never had to sleep with a man for a little bit of money just because a child was hungry. And the one child that I said, that I wanted to have, after Yatrell was born, on August 31st, 2004, I don't know whose idea it was for Lord Gerald and for Trinity to be born, because I never agreed, to have 3 children. So, since my job, was making sure that one child made it to the age of 18, the family has some explaining to do, because you can't make me look like a deadbeat dad, because since I didn't use them for insurance money, since I didn't set them up in car accidents, and since it was not my idea to have more than one child, and when I was at the hospital on August 31st, 2004, I said I didn't want to have any more children. Someone needs to explain what's their plan and whose idea was it for Lord Gerald and for Trinity to be born. Because if it was not for me, and it was for Yatrell to have someone else to play with, then if Trinity was not born for me, and it was for Lord Gerald to get out of foster care so that Yatrell could have someone to play with, then those are some pretty big shoes to fill, Yatrell. Because when people did all of that for you, they would have some explaining to do. Because since I am not a deadbeat dad, and since I did not use and abuse Yatrell's mom, Lord Gerald's mom, Trinity's mom, because how would the children have been born, So it's evidence that I did not abuse and I did not cause them to have miscarriage and that I was there, stuff like that. And, since I always make sure that it's a place, to go to and to be at, and been paying my rent and all of the bills, every month for the whole month and stuff like that, like a real husband, like a real dad. And so I'm not part of any of those groups. Those groups that say you can get sexed in, or those groups that say people can get fucked in or fought in. It was always stupid to me. Because if a person said you can fight your way into a group that children get sexed in and children get fucked in, whether you said you fought your way into those groups or gangs or not, they're still claiming to be part of a group of people that molested children and said that you can get sexed in or fucked in. So it doesn't matter if a person, wears those colors and say that they fought their way in. You're either claiming you're part of one of those gangs or groups of people that say you can get fucked in or sexed in, whether they call it hyenas or boy insemination or not. I am not part of those groups. I don't believe in people getting fucked in or sexed in or even fighting their way in to a group. A group or a gang that says that children can get fucked in or sexed in. You're either part of those kind of groups or you're not, And America is no place for those groups, It's the way it was explained to me. So, as a real dad, I feel real today. I feel real. Because knowing that a child is old enough to get married, and since I am married and I'm not staying in someone's, I'm not staying in my mom's house, or I'm not staying in my dad's house, or the person that they call my mom, or the person that they call my dad, I pay my own rent, pay my own bills, I got my own groceries, stuff like that, And I'm here by myself, in a room, just me. That's what I mean by myself, I'm not forcing someone to be here with me, and I'm not forcing someone to be, anywhere, stuff like that, Each time I went to court, I pleaded guilty and didn't make any excuses, for whatever they charged me for, I didn't have a special group or team of attorneys or lawyers or all of that, It was never a dead body or any kind of suspicion for me, So, as a real dad, and, as a real husband, what I believe in God, stuff like that, I'm just glad to know that, I didn't have a little brother or a little sister. So it's impossible, for me to have ever molested a little brother or a little sister because I didn't have a little brother and I didn't have a little sister, stuff like that because I was the youngest one, in the household of what they call the family, stuff like that. So, for Yatrell Johnson, being 18 years old enough to get married and stuff like that, and needing a character reference, some pretty big shoes to fill, stuff like that, because, since I'm the type of guy that don't have sex with other guys, and since I'm the type of guy that don't have sex with girls, the girls that have sex with other girls, those types of girls, since I'm straight and I only believe in being in a relationship with a person that's straight, some people say it's real hard being me, with all the bruises and damages and injuries and stuff that happened to me, stuff like that. Because, I don't believe in any of those down the low type relationships, where people be talking about keeping it on the down low. Where men be having sex with other men but claiming that they straight. No. I'm straight. I don't have sex with other men. You know what I'm saying? And my wife is not a man. You know what I'm saying? My girlfriend is not a man. You know what I'm saying? So, just wanted to show some love and appreciation, and some of that truth, I don't know what kind of family or what kind of group of people that those people were, that was at 2501 20th Street, Because when I got it, they say his name was Willie or something like that. When he asked a child for money, when he used the car accident for a child's money, anyone that would have sex or say that he's sexy or even allow him in their home, and stuff like that, after these videos then being made and this information has been put out, anyone, that as of right now, would even associate him with in any kind of way, I wouldn't want those attachments, I wouldn't want to be attached to a person that's a child abuser. I wouldn't want to be attached to a person that said that, he used the child for money and stuff like that, him. That guy they call Willie. That guy that they call Aldwin and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to be associated with people that, had sex and kids with underage children. It's just what I would not want to do, stuff like that. And any other people that consider them friends and families, I wouldn't want to be associated or attached to them. The same way I wouldn't want to be associated or attached to those gangs that say that you can get fucked in. Because how did those 12-year-olds and those middle school students and those teenage students get into those gangs? If a grown man said that he's their OG, how did the girls get into the gangs? Some grown man fucked them in. Some grown man sexed them in. So, I guess it's time to throw a lot of those bandanas and those, gang signs away, since people know what they mean, and stuff like that, And don't let them fool you, because I heard they calling it cliques these days. So instead of calling it a gang and instead of doing it, they calling it cliques and stuff now. So, whether they call it hazing or boy insemination or initiation or getting sexed in or getting fucked in, people that have sex with underage kids, just like those people that was at 2501 20th Street, just like them people that was talking about they think Willie is sexy and stuff like that and handsome and stuff like that. You might not really want to, be associated with those kinds of people, because the people that brag on sex offenders and child abusers, if you are part of that group, people might be mean to you. People might treat you a certain kind of way, a bad way. It's because of the company that people keep. So since I made this information known to you, that, if a lady says her name is Yolanda and she's having sex or in a relationship with Willie Johnson, a child abuser, that makes her look bad and that makes him look bad. And if you're part of their group, it makes you look bad, because they're going to say, hey, it's that dude that, lives with those sex offenders and call them mom and dad or grandma or granddad or whatever, instead of telling the truth that they are sex offenders and child abusers, stuff like that. And somebody might be like, I got a little sister. I got a little brother. What you mean it's your granddaddy? What you mean it's your grandma? Why you ain't tell us that they have sex with little children? Why you ain't tell us that, they molested a Brandon? Why you ain't tell us that, stuff like that? Instead of calling them mama and daddy or grandma and granddaddy, instead of calling them sexy or cool or cute and stuff like that, some people might act that way. So, they say the truth is what sets you free. But since this is America and you're supposed to be 18 years old today and can go anywhere that you want to go because you're not a prisoner at the age of 18, So I wanted to make sure that you know that, if you're out there in them streets and you going here or there or anywhere, and somebody be like, hey, is you related to those Willie and Yolanda and Aldwin and Helen people? Is you related to those Aaron and those Linda and Glenda people? You might want to let people know that those people have sex with children and they child abusers, and those are the people, that was being mean to a Brandon Johnson, a guy that's, in a wheelchair and stuff like that, stuff like that, a guy that never did anything bad to you or to any of your brothers or sisters or your family, stuff like that, because, you as a person, have a responsibility, now you're 18 years of age, legally old enough to get married because, in order to get married and be in a relationship, what if you had a child or you had a baby? And now that you see how the family court work and how they'll make you stay there until you're 18 years old, if you the type of person that does not tell on sex offenders, the family court will not trust you with children. And you would have to have supervised visitation. They'll take your children from you. They'll watch you. And they might even say that you're a sex offender because you did not tell on the people that were sex offenders. And because, if you said nice stuff and good stuff about them instead of warning the other children that, hey, don't hang around them. They have sex with underage children and call them girlfriend and boyfriend and husband and wife and mom and dad and grandma and granddaddy and cousin and uncle and sister and aunt and stuff like that. Because with all of the information that I put on the page, you won't have any excuse. So, as a real dad, just doing my job because I wanted you to be safe and great, dare to be different, just like the DARE program. Don't use drugs. Don't abuse alcohol, those illegal drugs. Because, they say some of the medicine is called drugs. So don't use illegal drugs. Don't abuse alcohol. And, the GREAT program. Don't be a part of those gangs because, they say they're child molesters, because how can a girl get 16 or fucked in by a OG, some grown fat dude, unless that's child molestation. The same way, how can a person be a child's hyena without breaking their hymen and ruining their marriage? Because the husband gonna be like, what her hymen at? Why when I stuck my thing in there, it just went in and it, who opened it up? Stuff like that, So no, everybody didn't have a real dad the way that, I am a real dad, because some of the people, when it wasn't no hymen, they killed somebody. They killed their own wife, Some of the people, when it wasn't no hymen, they killed their own baby mama. Some of the people, when they said they only wanted one child, or when she said something different, they killed their own girlfriend, their own wife and stuff like that, Or they just went and found somebody else. So, just like in the family court of Jefferson County, ever since October 6, 2006, they said all he was going to do was leave. All he was going to do was find somebody else. All he was going to do was go to the sister or a prostitute or to a neighbor or to somebody else. But with God as my witness, if according to the birth certificate, they say that you're 18 years old, and I did a good job because, I didn't have sex with any other sisters or the neighbors or any other girls or whatever, because I was never quite able to finish the job, or I just never even tried, stuff like that. And since I didn't make any other single moms or baby moms or stuff like that or whatever, I don't know how many times I've been molested. I don't know who been using the name of April Williams and stuff like that with the identity fraud and theft and stuff like that. And the crimes that they did to me. Because, they had seen like they tried to set me up for some insurance money and they tried to get me killed and stuff like that. But, with all of that, I did not murder anyone, And I went to the store today and I got me some groceries. And I want to thank America in the United States Department, U.S. Treasury Department, because, my disability check, I paid my rent and got some groceries and some food, I didn't cry about it. I didn't whine about it, The child being gone, the whole time. From the age of 2 years old. So, it was like, a lot of people couldn't take it. A lot of people can't handle it. Some of the people would have committed suicide. Some of the people would have killed themselves. But I'm not suicidal and I'm not a threat to myself or others, I didn't get a gun and do something extreme. I didn't kill their mom, and stuff like that because, of whatever was going on, Because it's about the truth. Since I know that, I only said that I wanted one child and after our trail was born, someone else would have to explain, why did Yatrell need Lord Jehovah to play with? And why did Lord Jehovah need Trinity to be born to get out of foster care? Just so that just so that Lord Jehovah can get out of foster care. So they said it was all about you, Yatrell, because it wasn't for me, When Trinity was born, it wasn't for me to have a child. They said it was for Lord Jehovah to get out